I know when I was a kid, I always wanted that 100 count, 120 count of crayons with the sharpener on the back of the box. That was every color we could possibly think of, and my favorite color was cornflower blue. These markers are not labeled with a specific color. So the first thing I wanted to see is if anything in the 100 pack was duplicated. For example, was this just the set of 50 in doubles? And come to find out, it's not. There are some colors that are really similar to each other. For example, the 3 blacks, they just, to me, they look like black, black, and black. So I didn't see much variation with that. There were a couple of colors that seemed to repeat a little bit. I put them in the best order that I could think of with color scheme, such as you may have heard of Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, blue, indigo, and violet. But then I also have a section of pinks, and I have a section of my aqua blues, and then all of this is my neutrals, the browns, the grays, and the blacks all grouped together. So as far as duplicates, there's just a few that I could point out. If I look on my swatches that I have here, you can see the number 3 and the number 13 look very similar. If I had paid a little more attention when I laid these out, I probably would have grouped these together to begin with. The lids are almost the same color. This one looks a little bit lighter as far as the plastic lid color, but on paper they look very similar. The 2 greens, from afar they look very similar. I numbered them number 29 and number 30. I have them side by side over here, but on the paper in a bright light you can see a slight difference between those two. But for the most part, most of the colors you can see a good gradient shade difference. For example, all of these greens, it really does go from dark to lighter. The same thing with the blues. There is a good contrast between all the colors. And I also like that there's such a variety of the grays. Now, what I have labeled as 91 and 92 look very similar. And even their lids look very similar in person as well. The 92 looks a little bit lighter in person, but when you put them on paper, they look very similar. And what I've labeled as 98 through 100, those are all very black to me. So 82 and 83 in the browns also look like a close duplicate. From 84, it changes a lot. So let me show you 82 and 83. You can see the lids look very similar in color as well. In person, this number 83 looks a little bit lighter on the plastic lid than the number 82, but on the color swatches, they almost look identical. So I recommend, if you're wanting to have a specific color, then go ahead and color chart out all your swatches and number them, and then use a Sharpie pen and label the ends of all of your pens. When I store them, I actually store them this direction, so I probably should have written my numbers the other direction, but I can still make out what they are. I like to write them on this end because this end is where I'll be holding, and I'll end up rubbing off that number if I use it too much. So you can always rewrite it on there if it rubs off. But that's my tips for labeling your Crayola Super Tip markers. So here are just the examples of where I divided them up by colors: red, orange, and yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, and then all my neutrals, the browns, the grays, and the blacks. The color swatches came out great inside my bullet journal, since it's the same paper I'll be using. And now I'm just going to color one of the illustrations that I drew out earlier this month inside of my bullet journal with these markers. What I like about them is they don't bleed through. This is the, I don't know how to pronounce it well, the Leuchtturm 1917. And these Crayola markers did not bleed through at all, despite all the coloring and the thick lines. that I used for the lettering and for the boat. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll have some July spreads made coming soon within the next week. And if you have any questions about the Crayola markers, post a comment below and I'll try to answer it the best I can. I've put the link for these of where I found them on Amazon, and you can also find them now at some of the Walmarts. So thanks for watching. Find me on social media, and I'll see you next time.